Hello, my loves. Thank you for coming back. I hope everyone is well. Today, I want to talk about how it feels when your voice is silenced, when something traumatic happens to you and you can't, there's something that feels stuck in your throat. You feel like you can't be your true, authentic self. And it's a really big part of our healing journey and our mental health, and it's something that you shouldn't ignore. If there's something that when you want to talk about something and let's say it's a traumatic thing and you want to talk about it to someone, or let's say it's about when you're around people and you can't fully express yourself, it's usually because there's something in you that is unstuck and that is hasn't healed as well. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to share my story and how I've managed to progress in life through my mental health struggles. Please subscribe if you want more, if you want to hear more about mental health, self-improvement. Please join my community. And yeah, if you see me look over there, it's because I have my notes over there. But yeah, let's get into it. It's okay, you can have some tea. Let's have some tea together. I'm having chamomile. Is that how you say it? Chamomile. But yeah, I want to just quickly talk about my story. So when I was a young child at the age of 8 to 9, I witnessed domestic violence in my household. My mum was in an abusive relationship, and the person would also emotionally abuse me too. And in one case, physically abused me too. And when you witness things like that at a young age, it really destroys your framework of how relationships should be. And I'm not going to get emotional, but it really altered my view on relationships and relationships with men and how a woman's self-worth and self-esteem should be. And I watched it deteriorate my mum, deteriorate her. It ruined her self-esteem, it ruined her confidence. And let me even tell you about my mother. My mother is an extraordinary woman. She's an extraordinary woman. So smart, so beautiful, so loving. And all I can say is her and many other people do not deserve to be treated the way they have been treated. And even for myself, my inner child never deserved to see that or witness that. And if you are in that situation, just know you're not alone, and there's so many resources out there. I'm going to try find some to share, but you are not alone and you deserve better. And I'm not saying the people that we should demonize the people that are doing it. I'm not saying that, because at the end of the day, hurt people. But I definitely don't think they should be in relationships, and they need to heal separately and change. But anyway, going back to the story, so this domestic violence carried on for most of my life up until I was 16, about to turn 17. And there was many cases where it affected how I was in school. It affected although I valued my education highly. So as much as there was things going on at home, I would still I'll still do my best. But there was times where it did affect me, and there was times I would cry at school, and my friends would be like, what's going on? Where's this coming from? And I'll kind of lie. And the lying stemmed from the fact that my mom didn't want no one to know what was going on. It was more of that notion of what happens at home stays at home. So I never got to really speak out about how I was feeling, how these events affected me. And it took me years to be able to finally open up. And even till this day, I have opened up to people, but it still affects my adult life in some aspects. But I have definitely healed a lot. But yeah, so because a lot of the times I was the child that would be the one that would catch him being violent. There was a time where he was strangling her this is not funny, sorry. I get awkward, but he was strangling her, and I quickly ran to get a phone, called the police. And this is, I was 8 years old, and thank goodness I had the knowledge to call the police. but he was fighting me. Like, it was no 8-year-old, no 9-year-old, no child, no teenager, no adult should ever be in that situation, ever. It was very traumatic, and bearing in mind that was just one occasion out of many. And I don't know what separately happened when my mum and him were alone and I wasn't home to save her. So it's a hard experience because everyone is traumatized. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a bad relationship with this person now. I have forgiven them, and they have their own traumatic story, childhood, and I understand sometimes in life some things happen to us because people were really hurt in their childhood, and I know it's not an excuse, and it's never an excuse, but I have more acceptance, and I've forgiven, because I generally don't believe if you hold on to stuff and you don't forgive that person or anyone, it's like you're drinking poison and hoping that the other person will die. No, it's just gonna kill you inside, and it's gonna be trapped up in you. It's gonna be stored trauma in your body, and it's just not great for anyone in the picture. So that's a bit about my story. So I will say I had to release it. You can't keep your story to yourself. And I know people say, people think, no, but the demure thing is to keep it to yourself. But you need to let out that poison. I remember I was watching a video by Sarah Jake Roberts, I think her name is. And not that I think I know. And she was saying how sometimes you need to let that poison out. And it's true. You can't let it store up inside you. You need to let it out, release it. And even if it's like you're not looking for advice, but someone to just hear you and comfort you. Sorry, let me just drink my tea. It's so helpful because I want you to know you're not alone, and you need human connection. And I know with mental health struggles, it's hard to reach out to people and have that human connection because you feel like no one will understand. Oh, it's just me. But we have, as humans, we have been placed here to not only just bring value to the world, but to connect with each other, because things hurt and things get bad, and you need to release that. So if I'm honest, the effects of witnessing domestic violence and not being able to speak up about it as a child really affected me. I felt, the reason why I was scared, obviously I told you how my mum was like, that things that happen at home stay at home. And I also felt unsafe. I felt unsafe, and I felt unworthy as well, because a part of me felt like, why is my mum putting up with this, and why is she letting this happen to us? And obviously at a young age, people like to say that children are kind of like narcissists because we just think about ourselves. But as a young child, I did think a lot about other people. I'm just naturally an empath. But what I would say is, let's go back into it. But what I will say is that I honestly, it had a knock on my self-confidence, my self-worth. It had a knock on my self-confidence, my self-worth, and my mental health. And I wouldn't say as a child I had mental health problems. No, it started when I got older. But it all starts from somewhere. So some could say it started young, but I didn't know. And to be honest, I have my mixed opinions of diagnosing children at a young age. I have my mixed opinions. But it really affected me, like, throughout secondary school. And on top of me being in secondary school, I had a tough time because I was a minority in the school, and there was some, is it covert racism and other things going on. But what was happening at home really affected me and my ability to speak up, because I felt like if I couldn't speak, if I am just a child, who's going to listen to me? What's the point of me talking? And even when I would have social work see me, I would lie. I would paint the best picture and say, no, it's not that bad. But at the end of the day, I was like, I don't want to ever get taken away from my mum because I loved her and I never want to cause trouble for her. So it was hard, and it really affected a lot. And yeah, so that's my story. And now I want to kind of move on how we can make things change for us. So what I will say before we move onto how we can start to heal, when you don't speak up and when you let trauma build up, it starts to manifest into like physical sensations, kind of like a blocked throat, or like you can't speak, you start stuttering, or you can't speak. And that's because when unspoken words, unreleased emotions as well hold on into the body, and that's why it's essential to let it out. But we're going to talk about how we can get the confidence to speak up. I would say first, try with a family member or friend or a trusted person in the community, someone that you feel safe around, someone that's not going to make you feel pressured, and someone that is not just trying to listen for gossip. Try and find that person. But if you can't get there yet, start journaling. Start recording yourself speaking. Start recording yourself speaking about the subject, and record and journal. Read over it. See how you're feeling. Notice what feelings are coming up. And if you are more advanced, meditation. Try and revisit your inner child, or if it's something that happened when you as you're an adult, try and revisit that version of yourself and speak to them, have care for them, and say it's okay. Like, I know it hurts, but I'm here to heal you. I'm here to make you better. I am going to be that person for you. And once you do those things, reach out to someone. Or if you have the confidence and you don't mind speaking to a stranger who is qualified, I really recommend therapy. I only started therapy after I was 18, and I really wish I started younger, because I feel like everyone should go to therapy, because we all have pain that we need to be healed. And the thing is, once you start doing those things, your confidence will start building up again. Your self-worth, your self-esteem, your mental health will start to be on the right track, because you're putting effort into making and if you think about it, guys, doing all these things makes you a better person. Sorry, let's just take a quick tea break. Guys, I want to emphasize the importance of this step of speaking up and making sure that where you're speaking up is a safe, loving space. Not while you're drunk, not while, like, you need to treat this as sensitive as it is. And this is important for your journey. And you don't need anyone ridiculing English, laughing at you or saying, oh, it's not that deep, get over it. You don't need that energy. And if anyone wants to give you that energy, they can go, because karma God will settle the score. But it's so important to make sure you're saying it to the right people, even if it's just one or two. Let me give an example. So for me, when I first released everything to a family member. I think it was my grandma. Or one of my grandmas. I have many grandmas, but I think it was my dad's mum, which is my gogo. That's what we say in Zimbabwe. I told her everything, what was going on, everything, and she gave me a safe space. She gave me wisdom, and she gave me spiritual advice. Like, she allowed me to see my mom's perspective, the partner's perspective. She allowed me to see everyone's perspective, and she acknowledged mine and made me feel safe. And when I first said the story and I got everything out, it gave me the confidence to start making moves to heal further. And this took me a long while, and I don't want it to be as long for you as it was for me, because I only started doing this when I was 18, I would say. And when she gave me that confidence, I started to have the confidence to go get help. So I spoke to a therapist. That was time I actually spoke to a doctor too. I spoke to a therapist. I opened up to my friends a bit, and they comforted me, and they understood me more, and they had more love towards me. When you're vulnerable, it's such a powerful thing, because people can see, wow, like that happened to you, and you're that much of an amazing person. Like, I love you. And I really want you guys, what I want you to take away from this video is there is strength and so much power in being vulnerable and being brave and opening up. There's so much power, and I'm so sorry this video is long, but there's so much power, and I want you to know that. Another takeaway is that being vulnerable and speaking up about my experience and being brave has allowed me to honestly present myself more authentically. Like, I'm more authentic, I'm more resilient because of it. I'm more empathetic, which empathy is a beautiful thing if used correctly, obviously. And it reminded me of my unique selling point. That's the marketing in me from uni. But like, it reminds me of how unique my story is, and how being me is my power. Being me is my power, and my story doesn't define me. My story is what makes me better. My story is what gives me fuel to bring value. And I want you guys to know that, like, your story is what makes you so beautiful, so extraordinary, so what makes you stand out. And I want you to know that, like, honestly, the bravest people, and I'm always gonna remind you this, the best people I know have been through shit. So don't feel shame if you've been through shit. No matter how, it might not look like my story, might be different, but just know you are loved. There is a higher force that sees you. God sees what you've gone through, and he hears your cries, and he is gonna comfort you, and better days are gonna come as long as you put in the work. And I want you to, okay, let's say this is the homework. Just journal, just write, just journal for 5 minutes about it. For 5 minutes, set a time on your iPhone and say, I'm gonna just journal for 5 minutes about this. And if you want to go to the next level, write a text message to someone that you want to talk to. Write a text message. So either you journal or you do both. Let's do this, guys. This is our challenge. We need to be our most healed and loved, most healed and self-loving, if that makes sense. But yeah, I really want you guys to know that. Let's just take a tea break, because I have a lot of anxiety coming up, because it's a lot. There, thank you for staying till the end. I love you dearly. You are the best. Again, if you want to connect with me, DM me, comment below if you want to just discuss more. But if you want to be more like private, I understand, you can DM me. My socials will be in the description. And I want you to remember, you're not alone. There's so much help out there, and I am going to provide some resources in the description as well. And yeah, don't be afraid. And I know it's easier said than done. What's a better thing for me to say? It's okay to be afraid, but do it anyway. That's what I would say. Thank you, guys. Love you all, and I wish you the best.